The day that we went to the site of the My Lai Massacre in Vietnam was a day that I will never forget for the rest of my life.
How much violence and death and misery and suffering, like the land that you are stepping on has witnessed.
You just felt guilty, terrible. You felt ashamed. You felt ashamed to be American. That's something I've never experienced before.
On March 16, 1968, American GIs of Charlie Company raided a small hamlet of the San Mi village called My Lai on a search and destroy mission known as Task Force Barker. Whether the instructions were implicit or explicit, the intent was clearly of destruction as the soldiers, unmet by resistance or enemy fire, massacred 504 unarmed civilians, including babies, women, and the elderly. While several men were arrested for these war crimes, platoon leader William Calley was the only one convicted for premeditated murder out of the participants in the My Lai Massacre. At the time, the explosive scandals of My Lai and of Calley's murder trial were extremely influential in swaying America's public opinion of the war and stirring up considerable domestic opposition. With a pardon from President Nixon, William Calley served a total of only 3.5 years under house arrest for his punishment. Today, Calley is no longer a polarizing figure, and the words My Lai have lost their gravity. This tragedy seems to have been forgotten by the American public, as authors of 4 Hours in My Lai, Michael Bilton and Kevin Sims, describe the massacre as having been erased almost entirely from the national consciousness.
I think that's a problem. No one knows about it. It's one of the darkest periods in our history.
I was experiencing this whirlwind of emotions, but the fact that my education had never revealed this truth, the fact that my education had never shown me this moment of history that's so bleak but is so necessary to learn about, it was infuriating.
Despite me being an international student from Venezuela, back home in my country, I went to an American school, an international school, and I learned about the history of this country as well as world history, but I couldn't say that in any of my classes during my high school career, the My Lai Massacre or Vietnam War, for that matter, was ever mentioned.
Prominent war poet and local history teacher Bill Earhart came back to the Connolly Library at Salle University, where he is featured in a special collection on the Vietnam War to talk about My Lai.
I'd be astounded if you had learned anything about the Vietnam War, let alone the My Lai Massacre, in a high school history course.
John Bakey, curator of the special collection entitled Imaginative Representations of the Vietnam War, also discusses the public interest regarding My Lai.
It seemingly disappeared. Just went away by about, by 78, 1980 or so, early 80s. It's as though it had never happened. You know, people, scholars, academics, and some literary people, poets, people like Bill Earhart, continued to write about it and to talk about it and to do articles about it, but they did it at a level that the general population just doesn't see.
No, I've never heard of this.
I have not.
I have not.
No, I've never heard of the My Lai Massacre.
No, I've never heard of it.
The fact that many college students have never heard of this event has some serious implications about American education of modern history and current events.
Do you think tragedies like the My Lai Massacre have been forgotten?
I think they've been buried, not forgotten. There's tons of information out there.
I think that people have a responsibility to try to imagine.
Yes, absolutely. You don't have to go out and change the world, just pay a little attention. If all of us did that, things would be a lot different.